Good afternoon. This is Jeremy Murphy. I'm in Lincoln, Nebraska, in the central part of the United States, and I'm joined by my esteemed and distinguished colleague, Ha Tran, fellow life coach, and also a published author. You should read her book. I'm gonna put her book at the top of my list to read very soon. But we're here to talk to you today about patience. And I guess there's a fundamental question of, are you patient or not? But before we get to that, I want to congratulate everyone that's been patient enough to stick with us. I had a schedule conflict on Wednesday with the previously scheduled show. And so I had to move it to accommodate a health coach certification call that I had to participate in. So, but the threshold question that I'd like to deal with is, are you patient? And, we'll talk about what is patience and also the lack of patience, how to get it back in our lives and why that's important, and what we can do if we can really make that a part of our daily practice and routine. So, Ha, what do you think of when you hear the word patience? What does the word mean to you?
See, when I hear the word patient, I think just like anybody, I thinking about the tolerance ones have, for whether we have to wait for the result or we're waiting for something that we're looking for. Mm-hmm. My question to you is, in what aspect are you talking about a patient in all the aspect of life, or what area that you want to talk about?
Well, I want to talk about it in a broader sense than, physicians have this unique advantage of being able to ask their own patients if they're patient or not. And, but I'm wanting to do something broader than that. I'm thinking about, we get, a lot of times we get in a hurry with things. We want things to happen instantly. We want to be able to snap our fingers and make things immediately happen. And so I'm thinking about it in that context. And also, when you collide with chaos or catastrophe or other challenges, really wanting to navigate those immediately, but not being able to, and having to figure out how to kind of be able to press the pause button with the present to really be able to focus on the long vision instead of, just being able to solve it immediately.
Okay. So in that sense, I think that patients have to do with timing. And if you're longing for something and and again, because nowadays we live into the world that, technology, everything is just like a snap of the finger. Mm-hmm. And people, feel like if they have to wait, that they, you can see the people are pacing, or people will start to going crazy because they anticipations is that make people behave strangely. But
That's
yeah. I think that the last conversation you and I have, we're talking about the when we say a prayer. Like we were asking for our God or our Father or our higher self, and then we just asking for something, and we just keep on looking back. We just say, "Hey, why don't you answer me?" But sometimes our timing and our Father timing can be very much different. So when we say a prayer, we have to surrender, and we have to believe and have faith and know that it will come in. Right?
Yes, very good. Yeah, I think of, as a musician, I think of all the different tempos that there are when you read music, and you see, presto and allegro, and andante is kind of the in-between tempo. And then you get to adagio and lento, the slow and the very slow. And that's the type of slowing down, I guess, that I'm talking about, to, for us to be able to do that and really be able to take a step back and stop and think about, okay, why am I so impatient with this and wanting something to happen immediately? And how can I, slow things down a little bit, make it a more productive approach and be able to work through it a little better. But I think it's a common struggle. People, if you tell someone be patient, there are situations where that's perhaps the wrong thing to say or too direct, and someone will overreact and say, how can you say that? But sometimes that's exactly what they need to hear. But a lot of times, be patient. And some people think it's even overused to even say that. But would you agree with me that patience is a virtue? I think that's beyond a cliche. Some say it's just an idiom too, but I think it's it's a powerful truth, isn't it?
Yes, I agree with you totally, because it's almost like the thing that people say, just like when you're looking at someone and for instance, if they're waiting for something, they are pacing, and then we know nothing about what are they waiting for, but we see that because their body language, and we just say, we thought that we say something very helpful, something comes down, we said just be patient, and in turn that we just really make people kind of irritating to hear we say that, because the timing or what they're waiting for is sometimes it's just like they have a certain aspect of it, or they have waiting for so long, and then they think that they don't think that they can wait any longer. And who are we to tell them be patient? But again, we say it, and just like sometimes we say it to ourselves too.
Right. Yeah, I want to welcome my friend Chin. We've had a couple occasions that we've been on Blab together before on different Blabs, and we've had good collaboration. And also to welcome Sander. We have a comment here by Chin. It's a desire to get things off your plate immediately at any cost, and I think that is accurate. We feel like we should just be able to sweep things off our plate, get them out of the way, and get to what we think is really important. But sometimes it's the things that stack up that we become impatient with that really need to be dealt with, right? Do you agree with that? For our audience members and replay listeners, I guess the fundamental threshold question that we're asking right now is, are you patient? And if so, to what extent? And if not, why not?
Okay, I think that you're raising a very good questions, because I now since I came to America, I hear a lot of cliche about patience. Somebody said, "Oh, it's just like waiting for something. It's just like wanting the paint to dry." Right? Is that what they say?
Yeah.
And recently, I just heard somebody said that waiting for success is just like want the grass to grow.
Takes a while, doesn't it?
Yeah, take it well, and then take time for everything to come to place. And so, I would like to invite our guests to come in and to have our conversation with us.
Feel free. Yes, we have the speakers open, and we welcome patient questions or comments about patience or impatience. We want to talk about the lack of patience too, and how to be in touch with when we feel like we're lacking that, and how to be able to get back to a point where we're able to sort of press the patience button, which I think allows us to kind of pause this hurried, frenzied. I'm one of these people. I'm very driven and motivated, and I want to do things as quickly as possible. But sometimes when you become that hurried, the quality of your work suffers too. Would you agree with that, Ha? What do you think?
Yes, I agree totally. That way I would like to invite a guest to come in and to share their story. But when you say that, let me ask you a question, Jeremy. Share with us your story. What have you been waiting, and what do you think that the time seems to stand still for you? Hi, Sander. How are you?
Good evening. Hi. Hello.
Where are you from, Sander? Or where are you blabbing from?
Yeah, I'm from the Netherlands.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it's about 9 o'clock in the evening.
Wow.
Yeah.
Getting late.
Okay.
Yeah, it's getting late, so it's the weekend.
Sure. The thing I'd like everybody to talk about is to give us maybe a patient story where you learn something from it. And I'll throw mine out for what it's worth. We adopted a child from China 10 years ago this year. And it took us, I don't know, 15 to 18 months from start to finish. And there were, my wife's fingerprints got lost. SARS interrupted it, put a halt on it. And then, when we were ready to travel, we had to, be patient and clear our schedules to make that possible. And it was a real lesson in patience for us. And then we attempted to adopt a second child from China and waited 3 years for resolution. And that was a case where the patience was not resolved in the way we wanted. We decided at that point that we weren't going to continue to pursue it. It just, they took the timeline off the adoption process in China. And I'm not trying to make this all about that process. I am going to have a special adoption blab where I'm going to talk about our adoption experience. But I just wanted to throw the timeline out there because for people that are adopting children, I mean, that's an extremely challenging process, and there's stops and starts, and it's just very easy to become impatient with that. And so I learned a great deal of patience through going through that process with our family. Do either of you have stories about patience that you can share with us that might be helpful, or challenges that you've had with the patience issue?
Oh yes, well sure. I don't know exactly if you mean this. Do you mean by patience that you are patient?
That's kind of what we're talking about. Yes.
Okay. So I'm from the Netherlands, so I have to translate it a little bit. So when I was a little kid, I was very much time in the hospital. So when I was about 10 years old, and at that moment I had quite a tough youth. And when in the time that I was in the hospital, I had to be very patient. When I was surged, when I got surgery, I remember that I have to be very patient and very trustful for the outcome, for the moment when I came out of the hospital. Mm-hmm. So I had to be in that time very patient, and I was very patient at that moment. And I think that escaped my personality and my way of being, my way of living. So at this point, when I'm now 38, I see almost the same patterns as me in my childhood. Mm-hmm. So the patterns of the patience I learned when I was a child, I do that also in my at this moment as an adult.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah.
It's interesting to have experiences like that you can learn as a child, and have lessons like that stick with you, that can be useful later. Some of us, I think, maybe didn't learn to be very patient until we were adults, and sometimes it's our spouses or our kids saying, "Hey, you need to be more patient with this situation that you're being so impatient about." So,
yeah.
How about you, Ha? Do you have a patient story?
Yes, I do. But I want to ask the following up question to you, Sander. So what do you learn from that? What you learn about yourself, about the patient? Because as a child, sometimes you don't have the power, and if you have to depend on your mom or dad or your caretaker, and then you relied on them, you cannot really. But now through patience, what do you learn from that?
Well, what I learned was that I have to be trustful about myself, trustful that the outcome of the situation will be very good. The outcome of the situation. That's clear when I say that to you. Yeah. So you have to be very sure and very, how do we say that? To trust other persons, trust yourself, trust the outcome of the situation where you are at this moment. And when you learn that as a child, you become very secure when you're an adult. If that makes sense to you?
Yes.
Recently I read somewhere, and they're talking about at the laboratory. They do the testing. They put the children in different room, and they give them the marshmallow. But they said, okay, so here, this is, if you can eat it now, but if you can wait later and you can have more or something. And through the study, they said that who the kids that thinking about, if they eat it right away, they more likely less successful than the kids who are waiting to eat the marshmallow at the later time. Do you happen to read something like that, Jeremy?
No, but I'm thinking about there are a lot of delayed gratification studies like that with children in particular. And, some children have greater self-control with things like that than some adults, depending on what the item being tested is. But yeah, I mean, it sounds familiar to some other scientific studies that I've heard, testing different items. I hadn't heard of the one with, you said marshmallows, right?
Yeah. But I'm thinking that, if, they said good thing always come to those who wait, who have patience. Yes. But, and lately in life, you just hearing people talking about success. Success does not come to those who wait, but those daring to chase after. So that is, I see some conflict there. But, if I have a choice in life, I know there's something that need time to mature, need time to get in, to come to the point that I can harvesting it. But as a person that just like you, I want to speed up the process, right. And sometimes I just I have to sit on my hand, have to put my hand on my seat to sit on it. It's just a very, very difficult time. But through all that, we learn about ourselves, that we need to learn to be, when you have faith and we trust our own ability and we trust our Father, and then at that point that you have to be surrender.
Right. There is a great deal of surrender involved. And I think that's a tough lesson to learn. We have to learn to move through life at all these different tempos, sort of like, for me, it goes back to music, because that's a big part of, who I am and what I do. I play the piano a lot and sing. And so the proper tempo for doing that, the ideal tempo, is not always the one we want to go at, and as a musician, you certainly don't want to say, okay, well, I'm going to take this 20-minute piece that playing at a normal tempo is going to take 20 minutes, but I'm going to play it 3 times faster than I should just so I can get through it really quickly, because no one's going to understand the musical interpretation of that if I'm playing it at the wrong speed. And I think if we go through life at the, sped up a lot faster than we should be going ideally, I think we just miss a lot. Sander, I'm curious, it looked like you do naturopathic work? I was looking at your profile. What do you deal with patients as part of your work, your storytelling?
Not really patients. I was wondering, sorry, I'm asking for another topic, but it was on the right side. That KGB thing, what's that?
Oh, I don't remember what those. I don't remember what the initials stand for. I think I don't know. I get very suspicious of questions like that. I think they're just kind of trying to derail the.
All right,
but so, I can't remember what those for. But it's
never mind.
It's a Russian police or security.
Oh, yeah, like that. No, never mind. It's not really interesting. some trolls or something. Good.
It is.
To get back to your question, well, patience is not really something I'd like to. It's not really some part of my business. It's more like part of my business is more like mindset, health, being positive, create a positive mindset, to create a positive environment for yourself, to get everything out of your life what you like to have, what you like to achieve. So that's more like my business, and patience is not really a topic I like to discuss in my business.
Okay, well, you brought up you brought up the word positivity, though, and you know, that gets my attention because I've created a positivity patrol trying to unite people to be positive throughout the world, and so I'm just trying to make people aware of that anytime I have contact with people that are interested in that. So, but we can discuss that later. We want to say hi to Mary Beth. Welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Hi, Mary Beth.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Where are you from, Mary?
I'm sorry, what was that again?
Where are you from?
Florida.
Florida? Okay. I'm just kind of trying to see, you know, we have, you're in, is it Connecticut?
Beverly, Massachusetts.
Gosh, I knew it was New England. I thought it was Connecticut, I guess. Wrong. And Sander is...
Yeah, it's just around that neighborhood.
And Sander's joining us from the Netherlands. So we have a kind of a little bit of a cross section from the United States and a European blabber in the panel here. Just trying to make sure everybody knows. And I'm in Lincoln, Nebraska, for anybody that's joining us later. So, yeah, Mary Beth, tell us what do you think about patience?
It's really important. It's super important to have in life. Period. Like Ha was saying, I've heard of the marshmallow test. Actually, I believe that it's a study that a psychologist did years ago, delayed gratification on children. Actually, I do it with my dogs too. If we can delay gratification on a treat, you know, they're excited.
They are. Sometimes way too excited. Yes, I'll take all the dog treats now, please. As a dog owner, I can really relate to that one.
Hey, Chuck, I do that with my husband, too. I give him a dog treat, and he puts up with me. So. I definitely have to have patience with him now.
Oh, funny.
So to tell us your story, what testing your patience and what you learn from it?
Everything tests my patience. Human interaction sometimes tests my patience.
Can.
You know, before you continue, Mary Beth, let me tell you, Jeremy, there, my esteemed co-host there, he had the patience of a saint. You know, I mean, it just, but you know, he doesn't think so. But I just say, wow, he is just like so, you know, content. You know, I mean, I know you're aggressive to go into the direction to go in to reach your destination, but you're so calm. You know, one of the women that we know is call him that he is the eyes of the storm in her day or something like that. It is so beautifully put. Okay, I'm just want to say that. That's all. So go ahead.
You're too kind, Ha. You really are.
Yes.
There's a lot of things in life really that test your patience, or actually mine. Especially when I see when people are saying something, you know, that hurts other people, or doing something that hurts other people. That really tests my patience right there, because it's, you know, it shouldn't really be like that.
That's interesting you raised that, because there is I think there is a connection to negativity with impatience. If it goes too far, we get in this complaining mode, and we think we're a victim, and we just, you know, try to dump our problems on others, and not taking accountability for our own actions. And I don't know, how do we find this internal sense of whether we're being patient enough or not? I know you can't maybe be perfectly patient, but how can we be as close to that as possible?
There's a saying that I have is that there are no victims, only volunteers.
Oh, I love that.
I like
You know,
that.
we volunteer for stupidity, okay? We volunteer to hurt people. And it's, again, life is a choice. It's a choice to take a step back, and it's a choice to go, blah, you know, and just lose your patience. It's a choice. And whatever choice that you take, either this path or that path, those are choices that we take. It's, you know, some people take the other choice of always constantly being a victim.
Yeah.
It's always somebody else's fault. They hurt me. They did this to me. Oh my goodness. Woe is me. You know, I mean, sometimes, you know, you get into the woe is me, but some people do it constantly. It's you know, it's an addiction.
It is.
No, seriously. Some people are addicted to dramas. However, here, let me, as Jeremy put it out there, you know, sometimes that, you know, you see somebody who pays back and forth and they just like bite their nails and stuff like that. You said be patient and then actually put more fuels in your fire. So what is you telling yourself to be patient? I mean, what kind of language, what kind of the thing you need to remind you in order for you to stay calm and cool and collected?
That's anxiety, huh? That's throwing out some serious anxiety, because I don't think that's actually really a patience issue. Because what happens though is that when someone's pacing the floor, they're biting their nails, they're really nervous about something. If you know, you pick that. We're animals, so we pick up those emotions from other people. We pick up those cues. And what we have to keep in mind is that how can we help them feel more comfortable? Because a lot of times when they're doing that, they're not comfortable either with the situation or with us. Right. So we have to kind of look at within us and go, how can we help them feel comfortable?
Sure.
Well, so more layer than that, you know, not just because they're impatient about something, because the anticipation of something, there's something that makes them so uneasy about. But okay, here, my question again, please let me ask again, how do you calm yourself down if you in the situation, you feel that you're so impatient? How can you calm yourself down?
Are you asking me that?
Yes, or anybody who can, you know, how can ones tell themselves what language, what kind of conversation you need to have within yourself to calm yourself down, or just to give another 30 minutes or another 90 seconds?
Well, I don't think you need a conversation about it. Well, let's put it this way. If it's Christmas and you give me a little present for Christmas and I don't accept the present, which present is it? It's your present, because I don't accept the present. So if someone else offends me or say things negative about me and I don't accept what he's saying about me, then the thing he said about me is not in me, is not in my head or in my soul. It belongs to them, not to me. So you don't have to do anything.
Yeah, sometimes it's just a matter of you find one little thing to attach to the calm. You know, my daughter likes to make these little keep calm and blank signs, and she'll fill in the blank with different things. And sometimes, you know, they're silly things, they're jokes, but that word calm is part of it. But I think sometimes that's not enough. I mean, you can put calmness up here, but sometimes you need to attach it to something else, to silence, or sometimes you have to unplug from technology for an hour, that type of thing. Just because like Sandra mentioned, if there's negativity and it's being directed at you, I think we have a choice to we can either take that personally, or we can just let it fly off our shoulders and say, okay, that person had a bad day. I'm going to let him or her vent and just let go of it and try to understand that person's going to lose patience with me. And if I lose patience back at them, then you've got an argument that maybe we can avoid.
Yeah, sometimes the silence is better, to listen to your own silence and to your own breath and don't say anything at all. Sometimes that is more powerful than to offend back.
Right. Yeah, that's a great insight, that listen to the silence part. I think if we create that inner space to do that, I think it does allow us to be more calm. And if we get that sense of calm inside, it tends to radiate. And people notice. I mean, they pick up on that. They'll say, you know, what happened to you? You used to be, you know, anxious, nervous, impulsive, trying to run around and do 50 things at once. And now now you've changed. You're a calmer person. And, you know, there's a stability that goes with patience too. You create the stability for yourself and your family, your friends, and that can spread too in a transformative sense.
I attend Mary Beth lab, and I know that she is believe in authentic conversation, transparency. I don't know is speak nothing is the way to go. Give me your take on that, Mary Beth.
Oh, she was having some audio problems. We were having a little bit of.
I'm also. It's late in the evening, and I have to quit. So it's nice to talk to you both. And thank you.
Good to talk to you. Thank you for your insight. And take care.
Thank
maybe
you very
for
much
some other time. Bye bye.
Okay, sounds great. Bye.
Okay, thank you. You know, Jeremy, when we're asking about where people coming from, Sean said that he from what
Antigua.
is that? Where she
Antigua, Guatemala.
Yeah. So we have people from everywhere. You know, talking about patient and impatient. Sometimes that I learned a lot since I left my father's house. Before that, I was a spoiled little girl, so I want everything I wanted right away. But so see now, the thing it not just happened to me that way. So I learned to be patient, waiting, and that is something funny, but is you know, people think I might be crazy, but I do practice you know, I will take a deep breath and I say and I just do it, and I hear the vibration in my own inner ears, and to, you know, and I hope that I send the channel out to the universe, and that send that calming me down.
Yeah, that.
And then again. Yeah, and then again, I also want to think that, okay, I was asking myself a question. Okay, how have you done everything that you possibly can? Yeah. And then if I have done all that I could, and then it have to waiting for it to come to come to the tuitions, you know, of the outcome of I'm looking for, then I will wait. But if I want to make sure that I do everything within my power first.
Sure. Yeah. And the resonance you're talking about, you can do that with music too. You know, the resonance of your voice, whatever you're singing, as long as it's something positive. I mean, it does change you internally, and it gets you focused on something positive instead of something you don't have complete control of. I mean, we want to be in complete control of everything, right? But that's not always possible. You know, I do think of children on Christmas. You know, they're waiting to open presents or trying to, and sometimes they're not able to wait, and you tell them to be patient, and depending on their age and development, you may or not get cooperation on that, or they may cooperate to a limited extent and then lose patience, and you find they've opened all the presents without you know, not quite at the time you wanted to, so you can't photograph or videotape it anymore. But that's just an example that I think, you know, for a lot of us, that's something I immediately think of when I think of someone trying to be patient.
I don't know it's true or not, but let me share you my experience with you. I have 4 children and 7 grandchildren. And I thought that, the kids, they are impatient. They want to know what they get. So they really kind of woke up in the morning and they just waiting for us to get up and then they can open the present. And some years and they just so calm and cool. And we just say, wow, they just learn a thing or two. They, if we don't say yes, they cannot open yet. But, one day that I watch them closely, boy, they pick up the present. They feel it. They're shaking it. They listen to it. They try to make all the, to make all the prediction. What do they think it is in there? They have some sense of what is in there. And it just, when you think that, wow, they don't care. No, they already go through their own filter to check it out already.
Yeah, there's a saying in the Army, hurry up and wait. And I think the hurry up part is something we need to try to ignore. I mean, we do need to try to do things as quickly as possible, as long as we're still being effective. But the wait part is something, I think that's a powerful lesson that I think a lot of us we failed to learn, or we learn it and then we get impatient and we forget how to do it. And then we have to do remedial instruction with ourselves and with our families and learn how to do that again. But I think a lot of, go ahead.
So my question to you, Jeremy, how do you, what again, like I just asked Mary Beth earlier, what conversation you have with yourself in order for you just to deal with or to calm yourself down, or to think how you cope with your own patient or impatience? In this case, more likely the impatient.
I tell myself things like this, similar to what Chuck was saying in the chat. I tell myself, don't hurry. I tell myself, don't worry. I think that's those intersect a little bit. And I try to, sometimes you have to move things to the back burner. I'll have to look at a problem and say, okay, this is a tough one. I might have to move this to the back burner and work on it for a while, and move something more immediate to the front burner and work on that first, and then move, come back to it. Sometimes you have to set things aside. And sometimes I'll just distract myself with, playing the piano and things like that, just to kind of take myself out of that situation entirely. And, then I'll forget about it. For as long as I'm playing the piano, I won't even, it's like it's not even there. I'm in a different zone, a different, like a different slice of existence almost. Maybe not entirely, but as close as I can get. Or I'll go, I'll go try to run it off. I run every day. And so, that's where I do a lot of my thinking. And sometimes it's maybe letting go of those, anxieties about trying to get things done immediately, and being impatient with them.
I don't know where my patient and impatient, where it lay, but sometimes I not even know, because remember when I told you once that I'm a crackpot learning, because to me it's something that when I have some idea, something, I massage it. I get it until, I just like put in the crackpot and cook and stir it until I really learn, from inside out, upside down, in every whichever way that you have to. But sometimes it just, I think that because impatient, I learned a very good lesson that when I hurry to making the decision without having all the facts, I really learned the lesson, because I'm the person that believe in making the decision and go on, and then because when you're making the decision, when it's wrong, you keep doing it, and you will make another decisions. But life is not always that way. Sometimes, you can have a second chance, or you can have a third chance to make a new decisions. But sometimes one of the decision can really take you to a entire different direction of, you not expected, in life.
Very true. Very true.
And I can appreciate when you're talking about adopting a child. Because I have a couple of clients and friend of mine who adopt children from overseas, because the whole red tape, the whole paper, the waiting, and it's so exhausting. Easier for you to give birth to your child yourself than to go to adopt a child, because you have to go through so much. And I have to congratulate you and your wife that you both know what you're doing, and that what you committed to do, and you just waiting and be patient, and now you have a beautiful daughters. That is that's great. And later on, that is you can look back and you say, wow, because certainly your daughter, I believe she already has and continue to enrich your life into the way that you cannot imagine.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. There's, a lot of life is, I don't know, people call it a waiting game, but I'm not sure it's really a game. It's more of a, it's a part of daily life. We go to the store, we get groceries or get things we need. We have to wait in line. We have to be patient. We can't, start yelling and saying, no, it's my turn to be checked out and that type of thing. And, that it takes a lot of, sometimes we have to have a great deal of restraint to not overreact and display that impatience in a destructive manner. And I think that's been a powerful insight for me, that when I feel like I'm about to do that, I just try to take a step back and pause and reflect and say, no, it's the wrong thing to do. And, like Sandra was saying, just to be quiet. I mean, sometimes we have to hold our tongue and let things go.
I like the word patient, impatient with the restraint that you're talking about. Yeah, because and again we're talking about the power within ourselves, the discipline and respect. Respect to other, and and for things big and small, because not everything will go according to our timetable, because life is not just you and that's it. Involves so many people, not just life but in your own community, and everybody play their part, and everybody have their own function. And because if you keep on stepping somebody's toes because you want to be first, soon enough you will not appreciate anything.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes we have to recognize that we're waiting in line for something, and someone needs something more immediately than we do. So, I mean, some of patience, I think, is letting people, go before us if we recognize that they need something more quickly. If you have somebody that has trouble getting around, or somebody that has disabilities or something like that, I mean, we need to be patient with how quickly we think we can get out the door, and, hold the door for others. And, there are little simple things like that, simple acts of kindness that we can do to reflect that we do have the, not only the patience, but the compassion to help people in whatever way we can, even if it means it's a disruption in what we think is the timeline of how our day is supposed to go. I mean, we can't overplan things and keep them on the precise timetable that we're seeking. Life just has too many things that, the unexpected happens. Even if we try to expect unexpected, we're not going to be able to expect it every time.
So, okay. So, that is something that we can take control, that we're talking about control, the controllable. We can tell ourselves, we can talk ourselves, and we can do something that to help us to buy. I don't know if I want to say to buy some time, but for waiting, we can find some logic, and or we want to say ourselves, okay, we might want to wait because if we wait long enough, the fruit will be ripe just the right one, or, you know, something you're cooking, it's just cooking the right temperature, it's the same, whatever. But let's say you have a patient who come to you and he said, Jeremy, I want to be success at whatever that he want to do, but he not just looking in the future. He working for today, tomorrow, and then to have a tomorrow to harvesting that. But seem to, you know, if you listen to him, you're watching his language, you can see that he wants success of yesterday. How can you tell the guy like that,
Well,
or the woman like
that's a tough one. The good part is someone that feels that way is going to have a strong inner drive to succeed. And if we can, here, I'm going to let Chuck in here. They're going to have a strong inner desire to succeed, but I think they have to step back and we have to be realistic too. I mean, we can be idealistic dreamers and, you know, accomplish great things doing that, but we also have to realize we have to have a tiny dose of realism sometimes, and just accept that life doesn't always move at the speed that we want it to. And sometimes it's better if we take things slow. We end up with better results if we can find the discipline to be as patient. You know, you mentioned the word discipline, if we can find that discipline and make patience not only a virtue and a skill, but to make it truly an art, to the point that we're showing others how to be patient and demonstrating that for others. Hey, Chuck, welcome.
Hi, everybody. How are
Hi,
you
Chuck.
today? You guys are brilliant. You know, I just love listening, but I can't help typing this. And I type so badly. One of the things that I enjoy audio is that I have a real disconnect from my mind to my fingers when I type. Mm-hmm. And it takes me a long time to type a sentence because what I see in my mind and what comes out of my fingers doesn't always relate. So anyway, these two topics, Ha brought up discipline and patience, and I believe they're intertwined. Mm-hmm. And again, I'll go back to my old saw. I believe we have accepted yoke of servitude heaped upon us by society, that everything has to be within a time frame, you know, and we have to be somewhere by the time we're 23, and we have to be somewhere by the time we're 30. And now again, and I hope I don't bore everybody, but I didn't grow up in that kind of a society. And I mentioned earlier, one of the things that really excited me as a child, 8, 9, 10 years old, was growing things. And my parents allowed me to take over their they had a 1/4 of an acre. We moved out from Chicago to California and had this huge 1/4 of an acre yard. And it was mine to plant and grow and so on. And of course that led into landscaping, you know, I mean, all these things. But there's one thing that it did for a young, energetic boy, you know, I mean, boys are different than girls, is that it did teach a bit of patience. What's interesting is since we moved here, and I have very little room to grow things, and the patio that we have is full and it's maintained, I have found myself becoming less patient in the last couple of years, because I'm not spending the time I have for the last, 67 years prior to that, spending each day in a growing environment. Okay. Wow. Now I still do it here. But if you ask Shirley, I have, and it isn't because I'm getting older. It's because I'm not spending as much time doing things that patience is required. Sure. And I mentioned earlier, now what's helped us, of course, is when we rescued Lacey, but working with animals, if you can't garden, a dog or a cat, and develop that relationship, not just because you own the dog. You know, people have a dog and they put it in a kennel because they go to work and they pick up the dog and they hire somebody to take it for a walk. That's not what I'm talking about. Yeah. I'm talking about having a dog or a cat or a horse or a cow or I don't care, but normally what we consider domestic, part of our lives, because number one, we have to accept the responsibility, very much like raising children, And, but it takes patience to train a dog.
Oh, yes.
And and it takes patience to train a horse. And the way you train a horse is to speak its slow language, because they have a very small brain, and you can't anthropomorphize the animal. You have to bring yourself down to the animal and then learn to communicate with that animal. And this takes time and energy. It takes a lot of time and energy. But what happens is your skill of patience increases. I mean, at least we have found that to be true in all of our family members.
Yep.
And again, gardening, if you live in the city and have a patio or a little, whatever they call them, a deck, just plant a tomato plant. I could show people, if they go to YouTube, how to get 50 pounds of tomato from one plant. Well, if you made that your goal, it's to grow a tomato that way that will produce 50 pounds or more per plant is going to involve your patience every day. You're going to have to go in and very carefully prune and do this. But see, you're not going to get your crop for 60, 90 days.
True.
So it's not instant gratification. And
right.
We live in an instant gratifying world, which is ridiculous. And that's why I think we have people flying off the handle and exhibiting impatience. But I am impatient now. I mean, this computer, you see, I'm used to things working my way. I'm used to, believe it or not, even though it took time. But this computer, I mean, this blab thing and this computer totally, sometimes my wife hears me, yelling, and she says, "What's the matter?" And I says, "This blah, 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 blah," because it doesn't work logically to me. Okay. So anyway, patience and discipline go hand in hand, because I believe patience helps us grow in discipline. And without discipline and patience, you might as well kiss the business world goodbye. It isn't going to work for you. You can do other things. You know what I mean? You can go to work from 8 to 5 and perform a task, which may take patience, but it isn't part of who you are.
Right.
But when you are an entrepreneur, it is who you are. And therefore, you have to have the patience. And again, I'm going to leave now, but I think we all assume way too much on a daily basis. And it's not necessary for success. Success has never been dictated by how many things I got done today. Success is gained by how well you did the few things that you assigned yourself to do today. Not how many.
Chuck, hearing you say that, let me say that the activity is not equal to productivity.
Correct. Very good. Very good. That's a beautiful, beautiful way of summing up. It takes me a long time to say things as simply as you do, huh? And,
but your wisdom is really, you share. We really appreciate that, and I don't think you're any much older than me, but having heard you share,
you look a hell of a lot younger. No, I was born in 1943. So it's
okay. I'm taking the fifth on this, Mary Beth. What do you think?
No, but I know from our past conversations that Ha was raised in an environment very similar to mine, and I do have to grab this phone. So
okay.
Thanks, Chuck.
Okay, thank you. So, Mary Beth, talk about communication, because I did when before you just hop out, and I believe that I believe in the power of communication, transparency, how you communicate and how transparency you are in, have to deal with the people or with yourself about the patient and impatient.
Communication is really key, and if we can be who we are and feel comfortable with that, then other people will feel comfortable and do the same thing. Because what I see a lot is a lot of people out there just trying to prove that there's something that they're really not.
Yeah.
And that's why they're getting impatient. That's why they're not disciplined. That's why we just in the society now have so much violence, unfortunately, is because we have a world that says we have to be this, we have to be successful, we have to have money, we have to have, you know, this beautiful person, you know, in our life, you know, we have to be this, we have to be that. And it's even children now, it's younger and younger and younger to where they feel the pressure to be this person that everybody wants them to be, instead of being who they are, instead of being what they were given, the gifts that they were given in their life. And that's why, you know, we have such an explosion of impatience. And and that's why people come to me for therapy, because they have to learn that it's okay to be who you are.
Yeah.
It's okay to show up. I mean, here I am. I show up basically with, this is me. I don't show up with any makeup on. I mean, I probably could, but, you know, this is who I am, you know, and if you don't like it, you can always hit the X button. So it's simple as that, you know. But people feel that that's what they have to do. They have to be this person that other people want them to be, and that creates anxiety, that creates impatience, because that's so hard to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I hate to put Jeremy on the spot, but having heard Mary Beth say that as a father of a 10 or 12 years old daughter, what is your expectation of her?
Oh, I don't even know where to start with that, but we have expectations for her living up to her potential, to following her dream, actually dreams. She has many dreams, and we've talked about them. I mean, she wants to be a professional dancer, an interior designer, and then she wants to retire and paint paintings in France. Now that's just the professional aspirations, though. You know, more importantly, I mean, we want her to be a beautiful young lady, to grow up with a strong moral foundation, and you know, to really to focus on her path and find her direction with our help, and you know, with enough influence from family and friends and people that love and care about her, hopefully she can make that happen. And, you know, beautiful daughter. There's so many. It's a very deep question, and I could take it several directions. But that, you know, it's the internal moral compass that we care the most about, because that reflects out to others, you know, not being negative with others. And, you know, we just had parent teacher conferences today. And so they talked about, you know, your child's being very positive and not being negative towards classmates, and, you know, really getting into the interpersonal communication part that's so essential with life, that, you know, that you, Mary Beth, deal with a lot, and you do as a coach also. And, you know, for people that are struggling with that, to be able to, you know, to be able to communicate effectively with people and in a positive manner, so that you're being a transformative, positive force in the world. That's really what we're hoping that our daughter can achieve.
Good. You know, I know that you don't asking for advice. However, I give you advice anyhow. Yeah,
I'll take it.
You know, just love her, and then, for her to feel that she is loved, and nurture, or whatever, you know, whatever the idea she has, whatever she come with you, help her to explore it, to cultivate it, because that is our as a parent, we have to help our child to develop, and by, you know, nurture that by asking the question and guide her through it. But the most important thing that is, you know, she must and know that she is loved. You know, that's all. You know, I mean, I'm very lucky. I just love my children. I just love them, and I know that I know and I trust and I believe in their potential, and I continue to nurture and to cultivate that, to help them to cultivate that, and you know, I came to a new country, have everything new, and you know, from the culture to the way you live, the way you eat, the way, you know, all the whole you behave with each other, or the way you communicate with each other. I don't know anything about that, but I just know how to love my
Right.
children, and they know that they love, and let me tell you, they are the most wonderful children, and they are the good citizen of this great country for sure.
Beautiful. Yeah, I love that you used the word cultivate. That links back to what Chuck was saying with gardening, and I love the gardening and farming analogies and having to just, we all have to plant seeds and then we have to wait, but there's so many other, we have to pull weeds in between that and everything. And, it reminds me of that closing quote from Candide that Voltaire wrote, we all have to cultivate and tend our garden. And that may not happen at the pace that we want it to, but we have to prepare the ground, and we have to plant the seeds and weed and water and watch out for pests that may consume the crops and all things like that. But I think that's a great analogy that Chuck left us with, and I know he mentioned fishing too. And I'm really too impatient a person to be a very good fisherman unless it's a stocked lake in Arkansas. That's about the only place I was successful with being patient enough. With the fish were biting so fast, I couldn't get the hook back in the water fast enough. But I think, those are good examples that there are points where, you want something to happen right away so you can move on to something else. But sometimes the thing that we're struggling with, the patience issue, is the very thing that we need to work through with just kind of a slow, deliberate, well thought out process, and not trying to rush through it or hurry through it. And if we do that, the quality of what we're trying to do is going to suffer, and it's going to produce a worse outcome, I think.
Hey, Jeremy, can you type in the quote that, because it's so beautiful. I like that. And by the way, I want to tell you that Mary Beth also a runner.
Oh, cool.
And Mary Beth, Jeremy is a runner.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys have so much in common.
Yeah, I'll.
Or you can post it for me later.
I'll give it
later
to you
time.
now, and then I may have to. I might be paraphrasing it slightly, but.
But the way you said is so beautiful. I take your version anyhow.
I'm gonna have to jump off. My audio keeps getting garbled again.
Okay.
But thank you guys. This has been a great conversation. Appreciate you both.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, and Mary Beth, thank you for your support too. I know that you just go in there and you're just looking for Jeremy and me and to show up. That is important. Thank you.
All right.
So this conversation is good, and and I always thinking that I look at somebody and start to thinking, wow, that person's so impatient. But I never look at myself that I'm so impatient.
That's a very powerful insight, because you, who was talking about this? It was Morgan Ingram was talking about the looking in the mirror. I think John Maxwell has a book, and there's something about looking in the mirror and really reflecting on what that means, and doing positive self-talk and that type of thing. So I don't know. That's what I thought of when you said that.
It's something about me and the mirror. That's what I always say, that, if in the morning, you or me or anybody, if we look into the mirror in the morning and we like the person look back at us, we are okay. Because of all people, we know from the good and the bad and the ugly of the person that, we are there. And if we like ourselves enough, I think that we are okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So we did have Tony walk in the room. Tony, where are you?
And John Preston also. So I'll say hi to them, and say hello to Michael Francis, who's joined us. So welcome, Michael. Tony has a funny comment. I laugh at me when I look at the mirror. That can be healthy, though. If we can't laugh at ourselves we're too serious, and I am too serious a person. I will admit to you, I needed laughter and humor in my life very badly in the past year, and I'm very grateful that people were able to, bring that to my attention and show me that, that was an important thing. So, hey, Gerald, good to see you. Gerald DuBose.
You mean you laugh at yourself? You look at yourself in the mirror and you laugh hysterically, and because you think of something funny, or why you are laughing?
Well, I think if you can't think of something funny, you create something funny. I mean, you make. Yeah, I think we all have different interpretations of what that means, but I guess trying to realize that, maybe I'm too serious, maybe I need to lighten up a little bit. And I've had people tell me that, look, you need to lighten up. You're too serious. You're not laughing. We're telling you jokes. And part of the issue is I have a dry wit. And if you're telling me jokes that aren't dry-witted, I have to, travel there to understand them sometimes. And if I tell you a joke that's dry-witted, you may not understand it if you're not dry-witted. There's a humor chasm that we all have to cross in order to understand each other. And, comedians aren't really exploring that. Comedians aren't patient with waiting for the audience to respond either. They're just saying, okay, I've got a dead audience here. And in fact, you may have a humor differential. So I don't know. I mean, we all do have to look in the mirror and interpret, where are we? Where am I going? And but we need to do the positive self-talk that Morgan was talking about on a blab earlier this week. And I guess John Maxwell has this in one of his books. And I meant to write down which book it was. I might have to ask Morgan to remind me which one it was. So hopefully I'm sure I can go back and find the blab too. But
I think that it might be very healthy, because if you can laugh at yourself and you're at a good laugh, a belly laughing, it might be good.
It is good. It's therapeutic, and it releases endorphins also. So I don't necessarily have to go running if I need endorphins. I can just do the belly laugh like you said, and in 5 minutes, or less, you can get the benefit of that. Kids laugh constantly, and we as adults, we kind of move on and get we become a little bit more caustic, sarcastic. We start lacking the patience that even children have on some of these issues. So I'm gonna let Gerald in here.
Hello, Gerald. How are you?
Gerald, how are you?
Thank you for coming.
Yes,
welcome.
Nice to be here. I saw my buddy Jeremy, and I saw you. Hi, right?
Yes, hi.
Hi, Tran, right? Yeah, and I said I got to come in. I've never gotten to see Jeremy live, so this was exciting. I had to come say hi to my good friend.
Oh.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of Gerald. Gerald's been a lot of blabs and has provided a lot of great, solid content. So I really appreciate that.
So I like you already because I like Jeremy so much, and then we have something in common.
Yeah, Jeremy's a great guy. Jeremy has supported a lot of the blabs I've done, and Morgan, and so definitely had to come in and say hello and get to meet him. Virtually.
Hi, Tony.
Hi, Tony. How are you, brother?
Good to meet you. Hey, Tony, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
Okay, so share with us your impatient story or patient story, and what the result of it, and what do you learn from it?
Well, I've been following a life coach since I was a child, and my life coach is Charlie Brown. So, and his therapist is Lucy, and you've seen what Lucy has done to Charlie.
Oh no, sarcasm. That's a deep chasm that you'll be hearing more about from me later.
So, I always tell people, if I'm not having fun, nobody else is.
That's true.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's a good insight, though. There's a lot of humor in Charles Schultz's comics. People think they're just shallow cartoons, and that's not really the case. They're much more philosophical than that.
So that's short and sweet, Tony. So, Gerard, tell us about your not Charlie Brown story.
not Charlie Brown story. Okay, well, patience for me, I learned that patience was important when I was initially doing martial arts at a young age.
Oh, that martial art, that's, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so it taught me the importance of having to go through a process, and things would not just immediately happen. And that through that process, though, it makes you better. When you learn to wait and not be so quick to want instant gratification, in the end, the gratification is so much more enjoyed because of the process of going through something to get to something. So
I trust the martial art guy anytime with his patience and wisdom.
I appreciate it.
This is instant gratification. Food is instant gratification.
Always ready with the funny graphic whenever he's needed. So I appreciate you helping remind us we need to laugh, though. We get impatient with trying to move on with things sometimes. So
I stepped in, but I'm gonna have to step out because I have to go visit somebody and work on a photo shoot. So I just want to be able to at least give you some music as I leave.
Okay, thank you, Tony.
See you later, Tony.
Thanks, Tony. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye,
Everybody, thank you.
So, Gerard, how long do you do the martial art?
I actually did martial arts for about 10 years, from the age of 6 to about 16. I studied 3 different styles. I learned Taekwondo, Jiu-Jitsu, Aikido. So, I was in the martial arts for a while, about 10 years.
Wow, I love that, because those guys have the sort of discipline and the patience of a saint. That just
Yeah, it really did teach me. It taught me so much about patience and
compassion too, Gerard.
Yes.
It's just like kindness and compassion.
Absolutely, it did, and it made me a better person. And I use a lot of those same tenets even in business. So it's very important in how you relate and treat people. So
the only thing martial art that I learned, and I said, I know Kung Fu and I'm not afraid to hurt you. That's how I need to say it with such a conviction.
Oh man. Yes, I love it.
So do you Gerald, did you think you learned to be patient, kind of when you started martial arts, that discipline developed then, or did it happen later for you?
No, during the martial arts. That's why I said that. Martial arts really
that's what I thought.
Taught me a lot of patience. It taught me tons of discipline. And discipline is about patience. You can't be disciplined and not have patience. The two kind of coincide. So it really helped me bring balance to the way I look at things and perspectives and all of that. So it taught me a lot.
Neat. Do you find you help a lot of people with your work? Do you find that they struggle with this issue, or do you? I mean, how common a societal problem do you think patience is?
Oh my gosh,
the lack of patience.
It is a giant problem in society, especially now, because we have so many things that are right at our fingertips. I mean, when we were younger, if we wanted information, we had to go through an encyclopedia, maybe one, maybe 2 or 3, go read different newspapers and all in magazines. But now the magazines and newspapers are online, and anything with the advent of web search, you can just find at the click of a finger. The challenge has become, though, with information being so abundant, comprehension is the challenge now. Just because you read something doesn't mean you know something. And that's what people confuse themselves with. Oh, I know that. No, you've heard about it. You don't know it. I can read a book on how to do open heart surgery. It does not make me an open heart surgeon. So there is some levels to the practicality of application and how you get the understanding so that you can apply. And that's where the disparity comes in, because people think that because they read it or because they've seen it, it means they know it and they can do it. So they want it now.
Sure. How do you think we can teach people to be more patient? I mean, how do you lovingly tell someone that you're being impatient and you need to take a step back and maybe shift your perspective a little bit?
Well, one of the things I usually tell people is anything worth having is worth fighting for. And a fight is never over in 60 seconds, unless you're Mike Tyson, and then look where he ended up. So you have to understand that it's a journey. Success, happiness, greatness, whatever it is that you're seeking is a consistent journey. And in the essence of it being consistency, it can never be quick. Consistency isn't quick. Consistency means over and over and over and over, not one time. So you have to understand that we are constantly moving forward and moving towards something. And with that in mind, know that it will not happen just because you want it immediately. Yeah.
That's a really hard lesson to learn, though. I mean, you know, and the longer you wait for something, you feel like the time should accelerate and you should get to the end faster too. I don't know. It's just hard it seems like as adults, we kind of fall off that track sometimes and we have to retrain ourselves, how to recapture that ability to be patient and to restore patience if it vanishes.
Oh, absolutely. You have to always revisit because you're human. And sometimes you get in that mode. I want it now. Yeah. And now may just not be the time. God's delays are not God's denials. And when people understand that, it's an easier place to operate from.
Yeah.
But also something too, guys, something that you want it instantly. But then if you have some time to wait until it, come to you when the right time that it come in to take place. And, that's something that you might not even want it in the first place. Because, what we want and the time, the waiting, and there's something that to process it through it. And sometimes that, you are so right, because people want something instantly, and something that you get instantly also can vanish quickly as well, because it's built in no foundations.
Boom. And I'm going to jump off of here in a second, but I love that, what you just said, because that is so true. And that goes to the factor of, one, you may not be prepared for what that situation can bring into your life.
Yes, yeah.
And the best example I can use of that is lottery winners. A lot of these people don't have the financial astutement to understand how money works and what to do with a lot of money. They've been doing bad things with a little bit of money. So when they run into this large sum of money, a lot of lottery winners are broke within 7 years of winning the lottery. And they've won hundreds and millions of dollars, but they didn't realize it was going to be taxes involved, and that you put money here so that you aren't taxed, and that if you buy this, that this is going to depreciate, and that's going to cause you even more in your taxes. And even though you're not working, you're still taxed on it. So it's things that people don't understand, that there's a reason why it usually takes a process. It's a reason why you have to have an understanding before you are put in that situation. And when you can open someone's eyes to that, their patience level automatically goes up, because they know that you are constantly either repairing or preparing. What are you preparing for, or what are you trying to repair? So when they are preparing and in that preparation, that gets you ready for whatever it is that you are trying to live your life into. So,
wow, how profound is that? Because I keep on saying that, the journey you went through, up and down, from the deep valley to the top of the mountain. For every journey that you went through, God or your creator put you in the job training, because just to prepare for, for the role ahead of you. Because it's somebody, like you talk about the lottery winner, they don't have the mentality of a millionaire. They don't know how to manage the money. They think that they buy a $10 million houses, and they forget about the maintenance and all the taxes and everything. By the time that everything go through it, they're broke, because they don't know the power of the monies.
Right. Absolutely. They don't have the foundation. They don't have the fundamental understanding.
That's correct. The fundamental understanding about money, and
Right.
And so sometimes they don't have it, or the time waiting is just for that purpose, just to put them in the training and to get ready. The readiness needs to be there before God or your creator hand over something for you.
Absolutely.
Because I believe that you are his child. He won't deny you anything, but he will give it to you when the time is right, when you're ready.
Absolutely.
Amen to that?
Amen to that.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, we have to put the horse back in front of the cart instead of putting the cart in front of the horse, don't we? That's just seems we do that too often. We get in a rush, and we lose our ability to keep things in perspective like that.
And that way, I show it's important. We just have to get on and to share. And we don't have any intention to tell you how to live your life, but we share, and we're hoping that the lesson, or the wisdom that you share, or our story, anybody's story, will help people understand, or to empower them. That way, I think that our blab is very important, Jeremy.
Yes, I agree.
So
very much, yes.
Well, it was great to get to talk to you all, man. This was a privilege to actually get to see you, Ha, and see you, Jeremy. I appreciate you all giving me some time here and just getting to have a conversation about patience and how we move forward positively with patience versus looking at patience as a negative thing, because a lot of people do look at it like, why do I have to wait? Not understanding,
very good.
So important. The process. You can't make progress without the process. The process is important. And I'll leave with this. I say you have to go through something to get to something.
Yes.
And if you haven't gone through it, if you get there too soon, you will find yourself taking 3 steps back.
Yeah, I agree. I so agree with you. I will follow you right now. And if you have a blab, I need you to put in the size bar there, because I will follow you and I will come to visit your lab.
Okay.
Blab.
Thank you so much.
Do you have a blab schedule?
Oh, yes. I do a blab every Monday and Wednesday. If you look on my profile, we do what we call Great O'Clock. 8 o'clock is prime time. And so we figure it's prime time to step into your greatness in your life and in your business. So That's what we do. And I can link the one for Monday here. I'll leave it in the sidebar if you guys don't mind. And
yeah, please do. Yeah, I must say, Gerald, the wisdom and the knowledge and the experience and the insight that you provide on Blab is extremely valuable. There are a few people that have that kind of connection with people on this platform. So I would I want to thank you for that, and I want to urge you to continue, because there's so many people that need the positivity that we're talking about, and I know that you resonate with that because I've heard it today and otherwise. So I just wanted to thank you for that, and very much appreciate getting to finally meet you, and look forward to working together in the future to the extent we can.
I appreciate Jeremy, because of Jeremy that I met you today. And let me share with you my mentor, that Les Brown. He said that he believed in everyone have the greatness within them. And, I truly believe the greatness in you. So live your greatness.
Oh, I thank you for that. And I received that, Ha. And I see the greatness in you both. We all have the potential for greatness, maybe not for fame, but we all have the potential for greatness, because we're all put here to touch someone in some way. So with that, I thank you all, and I hope you all have a magnificent Friday.
And you as well. So long.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye. So are we? That is 1.5 hours. Do we want to close now, or you want to stay on? Or?
I want to welcome Quinette, and I think I'm probably going to wrap this up now. If someone else wants to jump in or ask a question, does anyone have a question? I'm not going to say it that way. I'm going to say, do you have a question?
Do you have a question? Yes.
Do you have a question? Or do
Jimmy,
you have
all the people here come for you. All the people on the cyber come for you.
No, they're coming for you. But
the fact that they come for us, that's good. Thank you.
That's true. I think part of it is they're coming for the the positivity. The positive message is resonating throughout the world, and once you start getting the word out on that, it does start to resonate with people, and people to have positive, happy, bright, sunny outlooks on life. I mean, that connects with other people, and it's something that we all need. And maybe it's not possible to have that insight 100% of the time, but we need to have it as an arrow in our quiver, so to speak, and be able to pull it out when it's needed to be able to turn things around. So, Ha, do you have any? I'll let you make any closing comments if you have any, and then I have a brief closing, and I think we'll wrap it up at that point.
No, I just want to say, hey, thank you for this platform, because together with you, I think that we share the passive thinking, the way that we look in life in a different, with that potential, the good in people and the good in ourselves. And that's all we can asking for, because too much of negativity out there. And then if we come together, and if we can, we just like in the darkness, if we can just open up a little bit, just like to let some light shine in, to our own heart, to our own life. I think that we have done our job, and we continue to do it, because that's what we love to do, and that's how good for us to feel that we have done something like that for people. And the only thing that I want to share with you too, Jeremy, I don't know how positivity I am, but I always remind myself that the sky always blue. Always blues, from the beginning of time. Mm-hmm. But when we see that the dark cloud, that the cloud just pass by, and then we have to do whatever we need to in order for us to sustain and wait for that cloud to pass by, because the beautiful blue sky will be underneath of that.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. That's that reminds me of a song from I think it was from the musical Guys and Dolls. Always stay on the sunny side of the street, or something like that. It might be from a different musical. I'm doing the best I can to remember which musical it is. But
do you know that always the sky always blue? We think that the dark sky, the cloudy sky, but again, it's just like the cloud that cover, but the basic, the foundation is always blue.
Yep. Yeah, that's valuable insight. We get reinforcement from with the space station, and NASA will send us pictures to prove that for the people that might disbelieve it.
That give me hope. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. I just want to thank everyone for joining us. I've really been pleased with the turnout and participation today. Has been remarkable, and I'm grateful that we had a lot of great interaction in the comments. And I just want to urge all of you to be patient. Don't worry. Don't hurry. Relax. And find that way to make the present the pause button in your life. Be patient, step back, shift your perspective, and be able to slow down and reflect that calmness to others, to your family, to your friends, and throughout the whole world. So let's work together and try to be patient. There's some urgency in doing that. We have Thanksgiving coming up in a couple weeks, and we're all going to have to be very patient with each other with Thanksgiving dinner, and and then there's Christmas, to make sure that children can be patient enough to not open their presents early, among other things. but even getting people to be patient enough and saying, I'm cooking dinner. It's going to take a while. You might have to wait a little bit, be patient. I love the farming and gardening analogies by Chuck, planting those seeds, waiting for them to grow, and realizing that it's going to take some work to get for the fruit of our labor to finally blossom, grow. And, if we do that with the diligence of a good farmer or gardener, we will find that we have yielded a rich harvest at the end of our labors. So have a great Friday, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I think at this point, we're going to end the recording in the show, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon. Okay. All right. Bye.
Okay. Bye.